welcome to Military History Chronicles. Myself, Eric, my buddy Will. What's up, Will?
What's cracking, man?
Going live on this Sunday evening. Yeah, we can say evening, not late afternoon, evening. Call it what you may. But just want to welcome you guys in here. I see Val, I see Jim, I see Cryptic. We'll see a few more come in. Military History Chronicles today. You know, last time I kind of did this, it was the summer of 1863. I was going to do Gettysburg and Vicksburg. Got a little bit long in the tooth with Gettysburg, as I kind of expected that. So I just want to make sure we hit Vicksburg, because that was an important campaign when it came to the American Civil War. What's up, Jimmy? I see Jimmy out there. Oh, my goodness. What's up, Rob? See everyone starting to filter in.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, how about that, guys? How about that? Little Vicksburg. I don't know. Let's see how many people know about Vicksburg. It's kind of, you don't really hear it too much because of Gettysburg. You know, Gettysburg is the kind of creme de la creme when it comes to American Civil War. There's so much. There's so much behind it.
It's a little bit sexier, so to speak, and there's a lot more casualties that were involved, a lot more men involved, a lot more high.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in some respect, a lot more high, well-respected and well-known generals. Well, one of them including Robert E. Lee himself.
Mm-hmm. True.
However, two of the biggest generals were involved in the Vicksburg
in the Western
Campaign.
Theater. Exactly. The Western Theater, man. That's kind of where the Union were really taking it to the Confederacy. Not so much in the East. Good old Robert E. Lee kind of dampened the hopes of the Eastern Theater as far as the Union's concerned. But yeah, you had two generals in Ulysses S. Grant and good old Uncle Billy, William Tecumseh Sherman. But yeah. So we're going to get into that. We're going to get into the Western Theater. Of course.
My mic sounds weird. What's going on with it?
I'm hearing a little static. Just a little bit of static. I'm not sure
That's
what that
I
is.
thought. I could hear it in my ears.
Yeah, it's just a little bit. The quality sounds good. I just hear a little bit of static. There, static's gone.
Oh, sweet.
There you go. Now it's gone. I think you're good now.
Yeah, oh, yeah, it is good.
Yeah,
cool.
good.
It's not in my ears anymore. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Right on. Appreciate that, guys. Thanks for the heads up, Jim.
What's up, more Katna? Thanks for joining, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you. That's good. Let me know if it's still there, guys, and I'll try to figure it out.
For those of you who don't know where Vicksburg is, it's right on the Mississippi River in the Mississippi here. Matter of fact, I can bring that up real quick. I have it ready. I already got the Google Maps ready. There's Jackson, Mississippi, which is the capital of Mississippi. And then, of course, you got the Mississippi River. Now, looking at the Mississippi River here is a lot different than what it was back in 1862, 1863. Look at this. The bend is totally different. This is almost like I'll show you a map here in a minute. But it was almost like a horseshoe coming around Vicks. Matter of fact, this is where it originally flowed. It came up here, had a big horseshoe bend, and then it came back down. But the Mississippi River, as it is, with it depositing all its sand, it changes its formation quite often. So even from 1863 to now, totally different. The original course it didn't come down here. It flew up and then came back down around. Just so it gives you an idea of what we're talking about. This is Vicksburg. What's up, Gonzo? Good to see you too, man.
Yeah. Right on,
the reason why Vicksburg was so important was because it's right there on the Mississippi River. All right. At that time, the Confederacy held Vicksburg. So there was issues. Here, we'll go ahead and bring this up again. I still got the map up, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
The issue is further up north, okay, you had Indianapolis. Missouri was a border state. You have Indiana, Ohio, Wisconsin, Illinois. You got all these states up here who used the Mississippi River to transport the goods. Problem is, how do you get the goods down to New Orleans? Because at that time, New Orleans, when the Battle of Vicksburg was happening, the Battle of New Orleans had already occurred. It was under Union hands. But how are you going to get your goods? What's up, Chardal? How are you going to get your goods through down to Mississippi, past Vicksburg, when you had all the cannon? And the thing is with Vicksburg, it sat up on the bluffs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure the exact height, but there was bluffs to the east side of the Mississippi River. So any type of shipping that would come through, And here, let me bring up this other map. It's
In
a
fact,
battle map.
it was known as the Gibraltar of the Confederacy.
Yeah, they did call it that. Yes. Let me bring this up. This is it's a little bit early. But it kind of gets into what I'm talking about. As you can see up here, you see where Vicksburg is up here? See how it came up and then came back around this way. So with the Confederate guns sitting here, any shipping coming down the Mississippi River was under the guns of Vicksburg.
Twice.
Okay. So that you got issues there, right? So the Union needed, if they wanted to have free navigation of the Mississippi River, they had to take Vicksburg. Matter of fact, there's a couple, both the Confederacy and the Union both understood the vital importance of holding on to Vicksburg. I think it was the nail that kept the two halves together. That's kind of what they explained it. Lincoln also said, anyone holds that key in their pocket controls the navigation of the Mississippi River. Okay. Let's go back a little bit too. All right. The man who undertook this operation was Ulysses S. Grant. He really made a name of himself back in the winter of 1862. Right? Hold on. Let me make sure. I'm almost positive that's what it was. Hold on. Make sure I get my information right before I freaking start spouting this stuff off. Yep, that's what I thought. In the winter of 1862, all right, the Union were in Tennessee, and they were trying to figure out a way how are they going to get into the depths of the Confederacy? How are they going to make their way south? The Union Army was stagnant in the east. Not far, I think it was in January of 1862. The famous General Order Number 1 by President Lincoln said he wants all generals to attack. Unfortunately, not all generals are attacking, but you know who did? Ulysses S. Grant. At that time, Henry Halleck was in charge of the Western Theater. He gave Grant the permission to attack Fort Henry. There's two forts exactly that he attacked. The first one was Fort Henry. Second one was Fort Donaldson. One of them was on what was it? The Cumberland? Hold on. I think it was the Cumberland River. I want to make sure. One was on the Tennessee. I can't remember which one was which.
Oh.
Hold on.
Cumberland.
I think it was the Tennessee. Okay. And then the Cumberland, I think, was
Further south, right?
Was the Cumberland. Let me make sure. I'm almost positive. Yep, the Cumberland. Okay, that's what it was. So Ulysses S. Grant decided to attack Fort Henry on the Tennessee River. Again, during that time, you wanted to have control of major waterways and railroads. Tennessee and the Cumberland were vital waterways. Ooh, let me see what's going on here. Guys, just so you know, of course, it's trade deadline time for MLB, so bear with me. If you see me looking at my phone, I'm getting alerts if anything's happening. So just know if I'm looking at the phone, I'm keeping an update on what's going on in the MLB trade deadline. But
staying abreast.
So yes, you're staying abreast. Yes. So those two rivers, both the Tennessee and the Cumberland, that was going to help be able to secure Tennessee, which would, specifically to be able to launch their offensive into Nashville if they wanted to. Ulysses S. Grant took the bull by the horns, took Fort Henry with the help of Admiral Porter and his brown water fleet. At that time, it wasn't okay. There's a difference between the brown water and the blue water fleet. Mm-hmm. The blue water fleet; those are your big giant ships, right? The brown water was basically you're navigating through rivers. The craft weren't as big; they looked like giant, as they would call. I think they.
Thank you, Caleb.
Yeah. What's up, Caleb? Who's Caleb? You know him?
No, I don't.
Oh. What's up, Caleb? Good to see you in here. Anyways, so you had the help of the Navy. It was a coordinated. It was if you want to call it, it was a combined arms, if you will, using the Navy and the Army in conjunction to be able to take Fort Henry. Same thing with Donaldson. Now, the Navy didn't quite play as a big of effect in Fort Donaldson because of the nature of where the river was in comparison to where the fort was. Anyways, long story short, Grant was able to take both Fort Donelson or Fort Henry and Donelson. Donelson was kind of Halleck was taken by surprise because he didn't think that Grant would go after it. He was able to have success. As a matter of fact, those are the two first victories, I guess you would say. I mean, there was a bunch of little minor skirmishes, I'm sure, that the Union won, but these are two of the biggest battles that occurred where the Union was able to win. And it happened in the Western Theater. So Grant was beginning to make a name for himself. Again, guys, I'm just talking about Ulysses S. Grant before you get into Vicksburg. After taking Fort Donelson and Fort Henry in the spring of 1862, a more famous battle occurred just south of there, the Battle of Shiloh, or the Battle of Pittsburgh Landing, whatever you want to call it. Again, Grant made a name for himself. He had a little bit of pushback. A lot of people are accused because the Union were taken by surprise. Again, they really didn't do a very good in placing themselves, thinking that the Confederates were nearby, but they were in Corinth, which was just south of Shiloh, and they decided to make a move on the Union forces. Took them by surprise. Anyways, they under the command of Grant, he was able to regroup. The first day was a whipping. Second day was a different story. Union went on counterattack. General Buell, coming out from the east towards the west, met up with Grant, was able to insert fresh troops into the fight. Were able to whip the Confederates back down into Corinth, and they eventually evacuated Corinth to fight another day. But I mean, at that time, Ulysses S. Grant, again, there was he had some conflicting, what do you want to call it? Admiration. Some people said he was a drunkard and he failed in the first day. A lot of people said he was a hero because he was able to whip the Confederates, the Confederacy. But one thing that caught the eye of President Lincoln. One thing that, because there's a lot of people telling Lincoln you need to fire Grant. Yep. A lot of that was because of political reasons. What's up, Vic? Hey, guys, I'm not going to get into that. Save that for another day. Not here. But anyways, a lot of people wanted to get rid of Grant. A lot of it, again, was political reasons. A lot of it had to do, they wanted him out of there so they could whether bring their own guy in. There's a lot of political generals during this American Civil War. Political generals, again, getting their commission because they were able to raise troops, have absolutely no experience in leading men. But yeah, I'm not trying to brush you off, Vic. I'm just saying that, yeah, we'll talk about that another day. Talk about it another day.
Just make sure to follow Eric on Twitter.
Twitter, man. Exactly.
There you go.
I kind of had a little bit of an explanation on there if you want to follow it on Twitter. I'm not going to get into all the craziness.
No, I don't need to.
There's no place for that. I'm not going to do that. But yeah, just keep following. That's all I'm going to say. Keep following.
Yeah,
things are coming soon. Coming soon, guys.
There you go. I like it. There you go.
Coming soon. Not just soon, but coming very soon. Okay. Anyways,
there you go.
They hate me. Shardaw. Look at Shardaw, man. So yeah, again, Grant had to fight that back. And President Lincoln, as a matter of fact, he sent some advisors, Mr. Rawlins, and I can't remember the other guy. Basically, even though they were presidential aides, they were actually kind of keeping tabs on Grant to see, so he could report back to Lincoln what was going on. They wind up being one of Grant's closest confidants during his entire the rest of his time in fighting the Civil War. So yeah, they became very good friends. But one thing Lincoln said is, I can't spare this man. He fights. That's what he said. Talking about Abraham Lincoln, President Lincoln. He could not risk sacking Grant because he fights. Because at that time, there wasn't very many generals who were actually fighting.
Exactly.
It was tough for Lincoln to find guys who would quote unquote fight. He was probably speaking specifically to McClellan and the
I think
East.
so. Yeah.
Yeah, that had a lot to do with it. You know, you got to think about, he wants that guy to fight. He has all this men and material, and he's not doing nothing.
I think the big turning point for Lincoln was Antietam.
Yeah, it was. Well,
you know, like why did you do that? Why did you drop the ball there? We could have had them.
As far as McClellan, that was it for McClellan. He was done.
Yeah.
After Antietam, he was done. Even though the Union won the field, he did not continue to proceed after Lee. They should have, but unfortunately, he didn't. So there you have it. So you got Ulysses S. Grant with some victories. Again, Shiloh, you could say it's it was a win and a loss, I guess you could say, just because of the way the first day went. Again, but they won the day. They were able to knock the Confederacy out of Tennessee. They didn't return again until, what was that, 1864-ish, 1865, something like that. But eventually, Nashville fell. That was huge. The city of Nashville, that was one of the few cities in the Confederacy metal, be able to build cannon, manufacture rails, manufacture locomotives. Once you start losing that type of stuff, especially during that period, the jig's going to be up real soon if you cannot be able to manufacture. But yeah, and that led us, and again, after Shiloh, Grant was kind of put in the doghouse for a while by Henry Halleck. As a matter of fact, he almost quit. Ulysses S. Grant almost quit after Shiloh, but after some counseling by William Tecumseh Sherman, he kept him motivated to stay. Say, he didn't want him to quit, and Grant wound up sticking with him. That was fortuitous because then you had Vicksburg come around. It was interesting in how they wanted to do this. The president was a little bit weary about taking Vicksburg. He thought maybe they should have gone further south and meet up with the Confederacy that were coming up from New Orleans and be able to attack. I think what was the name? Port Hudson, I think, was further south, and he thought they would be able to do an operation right there. Who do you think was the greatest general? Ooh.
Oh man,
we can get into that. By far, for when you want to talk, man, that's a hell of a question. I'm going to stick with Civil War. Ulysses S. Grant, hands down. Antietam was not a Union victory. Look at that. Why do you think that, Raw? Explain. Tell me why you don't think why it wasn't a Union victory.
Well, I can kind of see.
I think I know what he's talking about, though. I think
it was definitely a Pyrrhic victory.
No, General Lee. Nope. You're wrong. General Lee was good, but Grant was better. That again, that's me. If you want to feel that as General Lee, that's fine. General Lee was a good general. I'm not gonna say that he wasn't a good general. But Ulysses S. Grant, Genghis Khan.
Here you go. We're
Dude
never going way back.
Yeah, you're going back freaking 12th century and all that crap. Man, what the hell are you doing? Look at Dilly, man. Going way back. And let's try to stick. Oh, I see what you're talking about, the car.
Oh, the General
Gotcha,
Lee.
D-Shot. Gotcha.
Got no better friend than me. I'm the General Lee.
But as I stated before, there were General Mike. Get out of here, Cryptic.
Oh my God, Cryptic, man, don't trigger me.
All right, here we go. So I kind of talked about the reason why Vicksburg needed to be taken. If the Union wanted to have control of the Mississippi River, again, because of those northern states, farmers were getting pissed off at President Lincoln because they couldn't get their goods to market. Granted, yes, they did have the railroad, and the railroad did play a significant event in being able to get their goods to market and into the East, but they needed that access to New Orleans so they could take it to the East Coast. That had to happen. So Lincoln was feeling the pressure. Not only that, if you think about it, the Mississippi, if the Union is able to take Vicksburg, you're going to cut the Confederacy right in half. Because to the west, you had Arkansas, you had Texas, you had Louisiana. And then of course to the east, you had the rest of the Confederacy. So you're literally physically splitting the Confederacy in half by being able to take Vicksburg and eventually Port Hudson. But Vicksburg is a lot more important.
Definitely.
Now, It wasn't easy to take Vicksburg. And like I said, it was on bluffs. So trying to attack it from the water side was going to be damn near impossible. So how do you attack Vicksburg without having to use the water? Well, what you have to do is you have to attack from the east or the north or the south. What's up, Romelia? How's it going, man?
What's going on, Rudy?
What's up, Benji? Holy crap, haven't seen you in a while, man. What are you doing, man?
Oh, shit, we got Benji in the... Oh, right on, guys.
Holy crap, dude. Haven't seen you in a long time, man. Good to see you. Oh, man, that's cool. Good to see you, dude. So, and the problem is the Confederacy knew this. The Confederacy absolutely knew that the Union were going to have to come from the east, either from the north, the east, or the south. So they had it very well fortified to be able to do that. Grant's first expedition down south to try to attack Vicksburg kind of was a debacle. His lines of communication were much too long. Lines of communication is it's your supply route.
Right.
Back then, as it is with any other war, I mean, but more so with the Civil War, you had to have a huge wagon train to be able to continue to supply the men on the front with, beans and bullets. Once that gets severed, man, you're kind of out of the fight. You're out of the fight. Man.
Yep.
As he was marching south, he got to a place called Holly Springs. I believe that's in Mississippi as well. There was a Confederate cavalry general who played havoc. Can you guess who that Confederate cavalry commander or general was? Good old Nathan Bedford Forrest. He was playing havoc on Grant's supply line. He's able to sever it. Grant couldn't continue his way down south to attack Vicksburg, and so he had to go back up to, and I'm trying to remember the city he was up north in. Forgive me if I don't remember, but his base of operations. But Grant wasn't done. I'm trying to remember what the name
Jackson?
Was
it Jackson?
No, it wasn't. No.
Jackson was Sherman. Excuse me.
That was way to the east. The map that I'm showing here is like way after the fact here. Where that's after, this is way ahead of where I'm going to actually be talking.
Yeah.
So he had to think of other plans, and boy, did Grant think of a bunch of different plans. It's hard to see on the map here, but up here, there's a place called Chickasaw Bayou. There is a bunch of marshes in here. As a matter of fact, Grant tried to send ships up through here. They had to cut down massive amounts of overgrowth. It was impossible to navigate. There was bluffs up here to the north of Vicksburg that the Confederates held. So there was they tried a couple of times to come through here. They tried to build a canal. You see this little peninsula? They tried to dig a canal across so they could could avoid the Vicksburg guns and then come across here. That failed. Again, I'm not going to get too good. There was there is so much written about what transpired prior to Grant actually being able to traverse the Mississippi River. What eventually happened was, and he had 3 divisions under his command, one by Sherman, one by McClellan, and the other one by McPherson. McClellan, he was a political general. He was behind a lot of the angst. He was behind a lot of the angst that Grant felt after the Battle of Shiloh. What's up, Lethal? What's up, good man? Good to see you. I thought it was generally considered a stalemate, but it did stop the South Front free. Yes, it did.
It's
raw food. Okay,
you could see it in that light. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now, the Union won the field. In other words, they knocked the Confederacy off the field that day. They retreated. They left. Problem is, the Union did not decide to go after them and give them the finishing move, if you will. There was no
total
finishing
victory.
move. Exactly. It was the bloodiest day, and I think it still is, right? The bloodiest day in American history.
And yeah, I think
it's that one day.
We're not taking day alone.
We're not encompassing, like with Gettysburg. You had 3 days worth of fighting. Here it was one day. It was one day. It was bloody. And as stated before, McClellan decided not to not to go after Lee when he was retreating. But anyways, back here, over here. So they found a way to get down. What they had to do is they had to get south of Vicksburg. There is no way with all the incursions that the Union tried to do to the north and from the coming in from the north, coming in from the east, trying to build that canal, all those failed. So they got to figure out a way to get south of Vicksburg without, quote unquote, being detected. Remember, you're moving thousands, tens of thousands of men, so it's not going to be easy. So they found an old road that they were able to traverse. Now there was a lot of work. Look, and there's something that needs also be told in the story. The engineers, what's up, Rux? The engineers that were assigned to the Western Theater were fantastic. Again, a lot of these guys, what they did, they put their men in situations where they could succeed. A lot of the guys in the West, they think about this. The Western part of the United States back then was being built by farmers.
Oh, yeah.
And those guys knew how to construct, whether it's building barns and fences and roads and whatever it may be. There was a lot of engineering, not to mention the northern part of the United States. They valued education and engineering big time, much more so than the South. So they had a lot more learned individuals in how to engineer their way out of predicaments. And they were able to do this. They were able to fortify the roads so they could travel, so you could have thousands of wagons to be able to transport everybody. And they were trying to find a place. The place that they were going to initially cross was right here at Grand Gulf, at a place called Hard Times. How about that for a name for a place? Hard Times. Unfortunately, over here on Grand Gulf, the Confederacy had a fairly significant defensive positions. They had cannon and everything, so would have been detrimental to their mission. So the funny thing is there was an actual slave who told the Union, "Hey, there's a place south of here called Bruinsburg. It's got roads. You should be able to get down there, and it's not being guarded by the Confederacy." So lo and behold, Grant says, "Let's do it." He goes a little bit further south to a place called Bruinsburg, which is actually on the eastern side of the Mississippi, because on the western side you had Louisiana and Arkansas. Oh yeah, I think here it's Arkansas, actually, if I'm not mistaken. On the right side, of course, is Mississippi. Now, the way you had to get men across, what did you have to do? You had to have ships. So part of this, he had to, what's up, Niner Empire? How's it going, man? He needed help from his old pal, Porter again. And how did they do this? Well, they had to bring ships down south. So they actually had to sail these ships past Vicksburg and get them all the way down to Bruinsburg, so that they could bring the troops from one side of the river to the other side. Not only that, they were also bringing supplies at the same time. And what's a miracle is they did this very early in the AM. And it just so happened, I think it was in April, if I'm not mistaken, April 17th, 16th or 17th, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
The Confederacy were having a huge party. I can't remember what it was for. The Confederacy was commanded under General Pemberton. He was actually a Union guy, but because his wife was a Confederate, he went to side with the Confederacy. Wasn't exactly the greatest general, but then again, he was getting a lot of pressure. He was getting pressure from President Jefferson, and he was also getting pressure from his commanding officer, Joe Johnson. Joe Johnson wind up, because he got hurt in the Eastern. Now he's coming back and he's in the Western Theater. He was in good command of all the Confederate troops in the Western Theater. So there was a little bit of conflicting reports on what was going on. We'll get more into that a little bit more. But anyways, the Confederacy are having a party. Just so happens that's when the Union decided to float all their ships down south. And a miracle, they were able to get damn near every ship, I think, except for one. I think only one ship took too many hits, and it was able to. But they pretty much got everything they needed down south, which is incredible. I mean, they had to do it under the cover of darkness. What's up, baby?
Hey, it's correct, man.
And yeah. they were able to get the ships down there. With them to be able to get the ships, now the Union was able to start coming across the Mississippi. And the first battle that occurred was at Port Gibson. I don't know. It's kind of hard to see. It's right here. Port Gibson was one of the first battles that happened in the campaign. Now, this is a campaign, guys. This wasn't just a one battle. Look, we're talking, this is in the spring of 1863. This is April of 1863.
Sherman himself fought 5 battles during this, I believe.
Oh, there's a bunch. I know that.
Yeah.
Again, he had all his division commanders with him. Sherman stayed back. Basically, he was a feint. He stayed up there to make it still think that to make the Confederates think that we're still going to come. I say we, to still make it seem like the Union were still planning something up here, the northern part of Vicksburg. So Sherman stayed up here. Once they started advancing, then did Grant call for Sherman to bring his division down, and he joined the fight as well. There was a bunch of battles here. You had Port Gibson. God, I'm trying to remember the other one. Oh, yeah, the Battle of Raymond. There's a couple of little battles over here. Then you had the Battle of Jackson, which Joe Johnson was coming down to try to help relieve Pemberton, because he saw that what the Union was doing. So he was going to try to spoil the attack of the Union. Unfortunately, you see that big arrow? That's something that Joe Johnson did a lot as a general. He loved to leave. He was a defensive general. Look, and you'll hear a lot about that too if you study the Civil War. You have generals who are more on the defensive side. You had other generals who are more on the offensive. For example, General Longstreet with the Confederate. He was a defensive-minded general. Robert E. Lee of the Confederates. Again, he was more of a offensive. On the Union side, you got Grant, you got Sherman, who are more offensively minded, and you had people like the Rock of Chickamauga, George Thomas. He was more of a defensive. So again, Joe Johnson was more a defensive guy. If the situation on the ground did not look favorable, then he would vacate the ground to find more favorable ground to fight on. Anyway, the Union made quick work. So what the plan was, even though they were south, and there was another thing too, is McPherson kind of stayed up here a little bit to the north again to keep the South thinking they were going to come from the south, but they kept moving east all the way to Jackson. It's important that they took Jackson because there's a major railway right here. It's the Southern Railroad, if I'm not mistaken. They cut it in half. So now Vicksburg had lost a railroad from the east coming into Vicksburg. They also lost another railroad that was coming in from Louisiana. It would come up to that little peninsula. Then they would transport the rail cars by barge to the city to offload the supplies. But that was cut once the Union was coming down this side. So Vicksburg is pretty lonely at this time, guys. Pretty damn lonely. Dan wanted area to drag with him. No. But that's funny. I give you that. That was funny. You all good now, Will?
Oh man.
A lot of dust.
Damn.
I know, man.
Cough like a mofo.
So the Union was able to take down, like I said, they were able to get through these cities pretty damn quick. The fight that the Confederacy are offering up really wasn't matched for McPherson, Sherman, and McClellan, of course, under the leadership of Grant. So they got all the way to Jackson. Then at that point, did they start moving west. There was a few battles that happened over here. One of the biggest battles up here was the Battle of Champions Hill. That was a pretty damn big battle. That was one, again, it was bloody, but the Union were able to take the ground. They kept moving west. They got the Battle of Big Black. It's a river called Big Black. It was the last bridge till you get to Vicksburg. The Confederate were actually able to they were able to leave. If I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to remember. I think Pemberton, he had 3 divisions under him. He had sent 2 out. Yeah, sent 2 divisions out. Kept 1 division in defense of Vicksburg, in garrison, if you want to say. And then he had 2 divisions that were to face the Union. One division was in the fight. The other division got cut off. They actually had to go meet up with, they got cut off. So they had to wheel around and meet up with Joe Johnson eventually. But what happened was the Union was making their way west. They were getting close to Vicksburg. They almost were able to get into the city, but unfortunately, they couldn't quite get through the defenses of Vicksburg. And then siege settled in. If anyone understands what a siege is, basically the city, we'll just say, because this is a city, the city is surrounded. It can't do nothing. It can't bring in supplies. Supplies can't go out. You're stuck.
A really good example is think about the Crusades.
Okay. Yeah. You can think about the Battle of Stalingrad.
Stalingrad was another siege, yeah.
Yeah, that was a siege. There was a lot. Genghis Khan, he sieged a lot. I mean, that back in the olden days, that's what it was all about. Siege. And there was specific warfare. You know, people had to learn, because when you're in the middle of a siege, it's totally different tactics than it is when you're in open battle. Totally different. Thanks, Benji. Appreciate that, man. Dan Sickles. Best general ever, man. That's pretty good. I like that, food. I like that. Dan Sickles, the best general ever. Oh, man. The guy, man, the guy was something. The guy was something. There's some interesting stories. He got away with murder. Just to kind of put it in perspective of who Dan Sickles was, he was able to literally get away with murder, claiming insanity. And he got off. Oh, my goodness. Anyways, so siege set in, guys. And this here, we're talking, this is April, May. Confederates, they were getting starved out. I mean, it was getting bad, especially for the citizens inside of Vicksburg. They had to start building into the sides of the hills because of the constant bombardment by the Union, both coming from the sea, coming from the river, coming from the east where the Union was occupied. I mean, it was bad going for those who were living inside Vicksburg during the siege. The final straw was in July. What happened to fall right in the same time of when Gettysburg started breaking out. Yep. It's funny. Gettysburg ended on July 3rd of 1863. And John Pemberton offered terms of surrender on July 4th, on 4th of July. And there was kind of a reason why he did that. He figured he'd get better terms. Terms being, what were the stipulations for the surrender? And basically, if I'm not mistaken, Grant pardoned him. He pardoned when you pardon the enemy army, whatever you want to call, they're supposed to go back home. The fight's done with them. They leave all their weapons behind, but they're supposed to go on their way, go back home, go farm your land, whatever it was that you did before becoming a member of the Confederate States Army. But unfortunately, I mean, when that happens, I'm sure some of them probably came back in a fight again. But because one thing that Ulysses S. Grant is famous for is unconditional surrender grant, because the conditions that he gave both Fort Henry and Fort Donelson were pretty damn ruthless. And matter of fact, one of the guy that surrendered to him, I'm trying to remember who the damn general's name was for the Confederate. I can't remember his name, but they were actually really good friends. And that Confederate general, had actually loaned General Grant money back in the day. So he thought he was going to get more favorable terms. Again, this is going back with the Battle of Fort Donelson, but unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. Anyways, all that said being done, Gettysburg was won on July 3rd. Vicksburg fell on July 4th. Now, there's just some debate, which battle actually played a bigger part in what had more significance in the battle or in the war at that time. Now you got to remember, yes, Gettysburg was big as far as that's the first time they were able to defeat Robert E. Lee. Well, decisively. Antietam, yeah, he was beat, but it wasn't like it was in Gettysburg. And that was, of course, the Army of Northern Virginia, which had been given fits to the Union Army for a long time. Here in the North, remember, you have just split the Confederacy in half. One thing that Louisiana and Arkansas and Texas was able to supply wasn't just men, but cattle and sugar.
Molasses.
Yes. Cattle. Oh, not only cattle, but also pigs, sugar, and molasses. Those were huge commodities that the Confederacy needed if they wanted to stay in the fight. Look, a hungry army is not going to get you very far. They need to be sustained. And if the army begins to start starving, you're running into problems. And that's what it did. Not only that, it was symbolic as well. I mean, think about the Confederacy. You're seeing the Western Theater literally crumble right before their eyes. They lost the New Orleans. Now they lost Vicksburg, and it wasn't shortly thereafter that Port Hudson actually fell as well. So the Union had full navigation of the Mississippi River. So it's kind of, if you think about it, for those of you who know something about the Civil War, one thing that was laughed at by a lot of the generals was what old Fuss and Feathers, Winfield Scott, what was the thing that he said that the Union needed to do? You needed to squeeze them. They called it the Anaconda Plan. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, what his plan was, you blockaded all the ports. So nothing could get in, nothing could go out as far as supplying the Confederacy, specifically talking about Europe. They couldn't supply the Confederacy. Confederacy couldn't get anything out. And of course, controlling the Mississippi River. And then you squeeze them. A lot of people laughed at it. But the funny thing is, what was Grant doing at that time? He was kind of following exactly what Winfield Scott had advocated. Granted, it's, we're talking a couple of years down the road rather than right off the bat. And there's some great stories out there talking about the blockade. If you want to read some great stories about the Confederate, what do they call them? The blockade runners. Man, there's some really awesome stories talking about blockade runners where they would have these fast boats to be able to get past the pickets of Union ships so they could get down to the Caribbean and be able to sell Southern cotton, whatever it may be. So then they could bring back weapons and muskets and whatever it may be. But yeah, it's quite interesting. Anyways, that's what was so important about Vicksburg. Lincoln absolutely was pleased with what happened. When Grant first undertook this operation, he had some doubts. As a matter of fact, let me see. Do I still have it? Oh, hold on one second. I think I do.
Well, you just put it all on me, man, and I'm not the prettiest looking thing. He did a Dan Coach Emilio. He kicked himself out of the. Hold on a second. Well, let me text him.
Look at that. I pulled a Dan.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm like, whoa, all of a sudden I see my ugly mug, and I'm like, okay, what's going on here? And I just texted you, by the way, you can ignore it.
That's all good. Yeah, because I was bringing it up and asked if I wanted to leave the site. I didn't know it was going to freaking kick me out of here. But yeah, here's the letter that Lincoln had sent Ulysses S. Grant after he won the Battle of Vicksburg. Here we go. Letter to General Ulysses S. Grant. In this remarkable letter, President Lincoln congratulates General Lee for an important victory, the capture of Vicksburg. Here we go. This is from the hand of President Lincoln. I do not remember that you and I ever met personally. I write this now as a grateful acknowledgement for the almost inestimable service the country. I wish to say a word further. When you first reached the vicinity of Vicksburg, I thought you should do what you finally did, march the troops across the neck run the batteries with the transports and thus go below. In other words, going south of Vicksburg. And I never had any faith except a general hope that you knew better than I, that the Yazoo Pass expedition, again, that was the marshy stuff that happened to the north of Vicksburg, and the like, could succeed. When you got below and took Port Gibson, Grand Gulf, and vicinity, I thought you the river and joined General Banks. He was at Port Hudson, by the way. And when you turned northward east of the Big Black, I feared it was a mistake. I now wish to make the personal acknowledgement that you were right and I was wrong. Ah, that's so awesome, man.
The other cool fact about the whole thing too was Grant wrote a letter. Not Grant, but Sherman wrote a letter. I believe I don't know if it was to Grant himself, but he was talking about how they set free some 6,000 slaves during this whole thing.
Yes, there is a story about that. Matter of fact, it's in one of my books that I've had to read for my thesis, my master's thesis, talking about what Grant did for the slaves that they came across, because they again, when you're marching through the heart of Mississippi, what do you think you're going to be coming across?
Right,
a lot of slaves, right?
In the fields, yeah,
exactly. So he took it upon himself to, he wasn't going to, because they consider it quote unquote contraband, so they weren't going to return those slaves to the Confederacy, and they brought in General. I can't remember what general it was. I think it was a different Thompson. I can't remember the name of the general, but the guy, he's the one that basically started up, if I'm not mistaken, the United States Color Troops, the USCT. And yeah, it's a remarkable story. Again, that's just a tangent of this operation that happened in Mississippi. There's so many stories that come from this, man. It's absolutely incredible, because so much was happening. And so much was new. But yeah, it's fantastic to see. You got the commander in chief sitting there saying, I was wrong. See, like I said, he thought he should continue south, but it's like, nope. Grant knew what he wanted to do. The guy had some incredible forethought. He had a vision of the field before him. They said it was almost eerie the way that Grant was able to foresee how the battle may transpire. He just had an excellent vision, especially in the fog of war, and be able to succeed. Absolutely fantastic. I'm trying to think of anything else I should cover here on Vicksburg. Any questions out there about Vicksburg? I don't know how many people know about it, but it's one of my most favorite battles. It's one of my most favorite battles of the Civil War because of everything, the logistics, the planning, the way, the combat, whatever you may want to call it. The whole picture was just absolutely incredible. And more specifically, the leadership that was exhibited by the Union, the lack of leadership that was exhibited by the Confederacy is just absolutely incredible.
The other one thing to keep in mind too is, on the Confederate side of the house is kind of how brave these men were. There was only 8,000 men in that garrison that were holding down the siege, man.
Mm-hmm.
And they held out for a while.
Look, I mean, it was literally coming down where they were eating rats.
Oh my God, yeah.
I mean, can you imagine having to eat rats?
Siege warfare in a nutshell. I mean, pretty soon they'd be eating each other, to be honest. I mean, that's where it usually comes down to if you read some history.
And you know what? You're absolutely right. Grant had instincts. He also had a near unlimited resources from the federal government. Absolutely true. But here's the difference, because General McClellan had the same resources, right? But what did he do on the battlefield? Not a damn thing, man. He sucked. McClellan was wow.
They named the damn air base after him. Like, oh my God, seriously, that's one of the worst generals in history. But okay, cool.
Horrible. Grant, on the other hand, as you stated, Raw Food, the dude had instincts. He knew what to do.
And that's the other thing, you and I talked about before when it comes to leaders and generals, is that killer instinct, and McClellan didn't have it. He displayed time and time again he didn't have it.
And another thing is he also had the support of his men. That's huge.
100%.
When you have the support of the men, they will run through a brick wall for you if you have the support of your men.
Dude, you and I talked about it not too long ago. One of the greatest examples that I have from when I served, and it was General Mattis. He was universally well liked. It doesn't matter if you were Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine. When he was a Marine, I would run through hell with that guy to conquer wearing gasoline pants. Let's do it. Let's make it happen.
There is a lot of generals. General Sherman, General Patton, Eisenhower, even though he wasn't a commander, but he had the respect of the men that he did command. I mean, granted, he commanded the whole operation, but he still had the respect of the men. Bradley, I think, had the respect of his men. MacArthur was another guy that had respect for. I mean, you could go down to division commanders too. McPherson, he was another fantastic general. Unfortunately, he died early in the not early, but he died during the Atlanta campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Shame. There was both Sherman and Grant both said that guy would have gone far as a leader. Let me put that out there real quick.
Yeah. Oh, Miley.
Don't get me started, man. All right. If you want to follow me, there is my Twitter. Let me put that out there.
Boom.
If you want to follow me, follow up Master History 23. Yeah, I see a lot of stuff in the chat. Guys, all I can say, stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Follow Twitter. There may be an announcement coming.
Stay tuned.
There may be an announcement coming. Maybe tomorrow. An announcement. Possibly tomorrow. Again, stay tuned. Stay tuned.
You're gonna like it.
I think you guys will enjoy.
Yes.
I'm hoping that you guys enjoy. You know, I mean, it's all up to you guys, man. You know what I'm saying? It's all up to you guys. You show the support, man. We'll be here every single damn day. So, yeah. Just stay tuned. Should be a lot of fun, guys. Should be a lot of fun. Oh, what do we got going on here? Oh, my gosh.
Jim. Oh, freaking Jim.
Oh, what do we got going, guys? Any other? Are you charging $4 a month?
Man.
No. That is a negative. That is a negative.
Never mind. I'm not going to say that.
Any questions on the Civil War? We could go on if you guys want to talk a little bit Civil War. Anyone has a question about that? If you specifically to Western, Eastern Theater, whatever it may be. One movie I want to put together. I kind of want to put together a movie about the difference in the railroad, how it played a role in both the Union and the Southern, or the Union and the Confederacy. How much more benefited the North than it did the South. Again, you bet, Raw Food. Appreciate the support, man. Thank you, man.
Yeah, thanks for
appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely, man. Thanks for the chat.
I'm starting to think this breakup is a planned operation. No, it was not.
No, it was not. It was most definitely not.
Rooster, it was not. There was no planning whatsoever.
Came out of the blue, really.
It did, 100%. 100% came out of the blue. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Is Gettysburg or Gods and Generals more accurate historically? Ooh, you know, I know Gettysburg is pretty damn good. They stayed pretty good.
They impaled Gods and Generals, though.
Yeah, I did. See, I've only watched it a couple of times.
I'm not going to make an opinion on that because I've never seen it myself. But from what I've heard is that, like every historian out there, just kind of spears that one for whatever reason.
There's a few things, like as far as like maybe the timeline of where the 20th Maine was on their way towards Gettysburg. I know that was a little bit off, but I haven't heard anything negative about Gettysburg. It's all been positive from what I've seen. I mean, you only could get so much. I mean, if you got to think about this. There were so many battles in the battles of Gettysburg. There was an actual cavalry fight that happened. They called it the East. Oh my God, what I'm freaking.
Yeah, there was a whole battle they left out. There was multiple battles they left out of that they could have been put in.
East Cavalry Field. You know who was part of that too? General Custer.
I just saw that. I was actually just watching that video before we came on.
Which one? East Cavalry Field?
I believe it was. Hold on.
And then you had the Battle of Culp's Hill, which happened on the second day, if I'm not mistaken. Day 2 of the fight was when there was a big battle of Culp's Hill. Day 1, of course, you had Cemetery Hill and the battle on the cemetery. There was battles to the north, the fight coming through the city. You had Barlow's Hill. Then you had stuff up to the north and northwest. I mean, it was this thing. There were so many things that were transpiring through it because it was a 3-day battle. I mean, you had two big ass armies, ready to face off. Oh,
Cemetery
crazy.
Ridge. That's the one I was watching.
Oh, well, yeah. The Cemetery Ridge was more of where the Union was emplaced. You got to stay, it's always about taking the high ground. It's all about the high ground.
100%.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got out there. Anything else Civil War? Oh, a lot of stuff is going on in the world, guys.
One
of the biggest things that is happening as we speak right now. There is an election that's transpiring in Venezuela, and it sounds like the communist rule is about to end. From what I'm hearing, should be quite interesting. Are they gonna walk away, or is there gonna be some bloodshed? I don't know, man, but it sounds like the Venezuelan people have had enough of Mr. Maduro. So
That's not good for them.
Keep an eye on that, guys. I would be tracking that. Who knows what can happen? That's within our hemisphere, so you might want to keep an eye on what's going on down there in Venezuela. Yeah, there's a lot going on with that specific election. We'll see what happens. Yeah, locking people out of the polls. I heard that even with what they've already tallied, supposedly that's why they locked up the polls, because it was an absolute wipeout of Maduro. So he said, "Shut it down! No more votes, man." But the writing's on the wall. But let's see what happens. Let's see what happens, guys. We'll see. We will see. Also, yesterday, was it yesterday, or did it happen? Did it actually happen yesterday? Or I can't, because of the time difference. You had the incident that happened in Israel where, what was it? Is it 12 or is it more than that? I think it's more than that now, right? Is it 15?
50, I believe.
15. No, I don't think it's 50. Kids, school children. I think it was
the soccer field that got blown up. There's another one too that happened.
There was another one
in the Golan Heights area.
That one I didn't hear about. I'm talking about the soccer field one.
Okay, I didn't. Yeah, I heard.
But you got stuff again. That's pretty significant. That's happening up. Yeah, it's 12. I thought they bumped it up to 15, but it may still be 12. It's so significant that the Prime Minister Netanyahu decided to leave the visit to the United States early to fly back to Israel. The president of Israel, what's his name? Gallant? No, that's the defense minister. I can't remember the president. He was at the Olympics. He left early to go back to Israel. So things in the north, as we've been talking about here on Military History Chronicles, it's only going to be a matter of time before Israel decides to launch a major offensive to the north. And it sounds like we may be on the precipice of that taking place. What does it mean? Does it involve a broader war in the region? If it does, it's going to involve some other.
That's a weird tweet.
Some other actors. No, I am not on. It's just this Twitter.
Washington delivered messages to Tehran asking to urge its armed groups to exercise restraint.
Okay, let's think about this, guys.
Interesting.
There's a lot of that talk. I've been hearing that talk for years. What has this current administration done anything to prevent anything? What has this administration done to prevent anything?
Jack and
nothing.
Crap. The other hand, yeah.
They haven't prevented nothing. I should say, yeah. They haven't prevented anything, I should say. Nothing. They have done nothing to prevent anything.
Say nothing.
Nothing. It's scary, man. You got the Houthis. They didn't do shit to the Houthis except throw a couple of bombs on them. Israel had to go in there and actually finish the fight there. We still got American forces being attacked in Iraq and then Syria, the oil fields. Again, there's no response.
We got chased out of Africa.
Got chased out of Africa by
we got replaced by the Russians.
Got replaced by the Russians in Africa. Well, which country was it actually? Was it Niger? Niger,
and then Niger, I guess is the way you're supposed to say it. It's French.
Oh, Niger.
And then Mali.
Mali was we
got kicked out of the DRC too.
Congo.
Wonderful.
We've been Nothing is happening. You're not preventing Hamas and Hezbollah from doing what they're still doing. Iran is still being an instigator. You didn't prevent what happened in Ukraine. They haven't done any.
The Chinese are escalating.
They always have been. They have been the whole time in the South China Sea, 100%. Yeah. Off the western coast of Philippines, constantly happening. Constantly happening. They keep provoking Taiwan. Oh, Taiwan, it's just a matter of time, man. It's just a matter of time before China takes Taiwan. And we can't do nothing to prevent it. Not right now.
Oh, no.
Not right now. It's a mess out there, guys. And I don't know where this leads, but it seems like it seems like
you can see my cactus back there. That's cool.
Yeah, a little bit back there. Yeah,
a little tiny bit. Yeah.
I don't know where this leads. It's kind of scary, to be honest with you. It's kind of scary.
It's a weird, man. I tell you what. No, I don't want to go down that road. That's too depressing.
Yeah, exactly. AB, what's up? He's asking, which battle do you think was the Confederacy's biggest victory during the war? Ooh. Biggest victory. They had a few of them, man.
Well, they were winning early on.
When you mean by big, man, you could take that you could take that so many different ways.
Probably most important.
I mean, think about it. God, they had General Jackson was able to absolutely obliterate the Union in the Shenandoah Valley. The Union couldn't do nothing in the Shenandoah Valley. You had the Battle of Fredericksburg. That was a debacle by the Union. That was just. You had the Battle of Chancellorsville right before Gettysburg, which was. I mean, there were so many, man. Of course, the very first one, the Battle of Manassas. The second Battle of Manassas, or second Bull Run, that was a huge victory. I mean, the Confederacy was just destroyed in the Eastern Theater. All right, in the Eastern Theater, I mean, the Confederacy was having their way all the way up until Gettysburg, and we're talking like this is July of 1863. So from the April of 1861 until the summer of 1863, the Confederacy was just wiping up the Union all over the place in the Eastern Theater. In the West, the only victory that the Confederacy really had was at Chickamauga.
Yeah,
they were able to defeat the Union and win the ground, and they were able to take Chattanooga because of that. But when Grant entered the scene, once the Confederacy took Chattanooga, Grant was able to throw back the Confederacy out of Chattanooga, and then began the Atlanta campaign. After Chattanooga, that's when Grant got promoted to General of the Army. He went out to the Eastern Theater. General Sherman took over the Union forces in the Western Theater, and he began his march down into Atlanta. But yeah, so in the West, the Confederacy's biggest was Chickamauga. In the East, everything but Gettysburg. Right? And then, of course, after that, I mean, that's when once Grant got over into the East, he started marching down south to try to take Richmond. There was a bunch of bloody battles, really more of a stalemate, but the Union continued to move south and eventually was able to, again, put a siege on both Richmond and Petersburg. And again, that was the end. That was
one thing to go back on Vicksburg real quick. Remember, Pemberton's orders were being delayed by a whole 2 days because they didn't have telegram lines. They were being passed.
Yeah, they didn't have telegraph lines like the Union did. Yeah, exactly. They had to do it by runner. By run, and he was getting conflicting because what General Johnson was telling Pemberton, he said, vacate Vicksburg, meet up with me.
Yeah.
But then President Jefferson was saying,
Davis,
hold Vicksburg at all costs. So what is
we know the answer because we were in the military. You follow your immediate commander, but he was like, okay, the other guys are winning this battle, so
come on, who do you got to answer to? You're not.
Yeah, that's very true, but yeah.
And unfortunately, he wound up staying at Vicksburg.
Exactly. Right on, Cryptic. You have a good one, dude.
All right, Cryptic, have a good one, dude. Thanks for joining, man. I appreciate it, dude.
Yeah, appreciate the support.
Yeah, awesome. Chardal was at Bull Run.
Chardal, you were at Bull Run, man. Right on.
That's a great story too about how that's where General Jackson got his moniker, Stonewall. Again, there's debate on what it meant. Was he being stupid and just standing there like a stone wall, or was he being brave and being there as a stone wall? They could go either way. Problem is, the guy who said that did not live to be able to explain what he meant by look at General Jackson up there standing like a stone wall.
There was I remember, I can't remember who told me this. Somewhere I learned it in the military, obviously, but there's a fine line between bravery and dumbassery.
Dumbassery. Great name. You know, one of my favorite, buffoonery. I heard that one time.
Buffoonery, there you go.
I'm tired of this buffoonery. I was like, man, that's pretty good. Shenanigans, that's another good name. Or a good word.
Rectal cranial inversion.
Yeah. Got your head up. Yep.
Got your head up the wazoo, man.
Let me see what we got here. I'm just checking Twitter.
Let me go check Live UA Maps, see if there's anything righteous on there that's new. Other than that,
is there
keep
more?
Keep an eye on the Israel thing, guys. That thing's about to pop off. They're going to mobilize and head up. They're going to go north. This is going to blow way up real soon.
What are you talking about? Venezuela?
No, not Venezuela. They'll end up going to like some kind of weird civil war. I think we can see the writing on the wall there. I'm talking about Israel and Lebanon.
Oh,
I think that's gonna be just set on fire. It's just a matter of time here.
Yeah.
And then France is already, you got weirdos setting fires on the train tracks over there now.
And I think they're hacking this stuff too, if I'm not mistaken, right? Aren't they hacking it?
Didn't they say there was some kind of weird power outage or something like that? Like somebody got in there and created a power outage.
There was out of the 4 rail lines to get into Paris, 3 of them went down. They were able to thwart the 4th one coming in from the south.
Yeah. So I mean,
and then they lost power the first night or the second night of the Olympics. Yeah. No, well, the first night of the Olympics, but the second night after the opening ceremonies. But oh my gosh, man, so much going on.
It's all popping off now, and
it is 100%. Let's see what else we got in the chat here, guys.
What's going on, dudes?
All hell is going to break out in the north. Yeah, you're right, Lethal. All hell will break out in the north. It's going to happen.
Chardal going on one.
Yeah, I see that. Chardal being Chardal. Wouldn't it be Chardal if it wasn't for Chardal?
No, that's true.
I guess Kamala Harris is still waiting to pick a vice president. Names, right? Shapiro, Kelly, and some other guy that I never heard of. What's up, the rounder?
Yeah, dude, that's a scary situation. If the polls are what they really are, come on, man. Like, we have that many people man. Out there.
Yeah, you gotta
I hate to disparage a fellow American, but at this point, like, what are you even doing? Are you voting for her based off of race, or because that's what they're pushing in the whole thing?
You know what I think is happening? And this is just my opinion. This is what's happening. It's the whole.
Oh, there you go.
It's the whole. It's not Trump, so that's who I'm voting for. That's where
there you go. Yeah, thank you. Yep.
That's exactly where it's going right now. Yeah, whether you like it or not, that's what it feels like it's going.
That's how you should vote, right? That's how you should vote.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Right. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. That's not how you're supposed to vote. But
amazing.
I mean,
yeah, I don't like that.
I've gone on and on about voting, and it is what it is. People will vote how they want to vote, and we'll see what happens. And here's another thing. I started thinking about this too. Interesting. I guarantee you, Trump is disappointed that Biden dropped out. 100%. Oh, he's gonna wipe him up.
Surefire win.
Surefire win. Here's the deal. With Kamala Harris, what has she done in 4 years?
Well, she was not with Willie
Think
Brown
about it.
Anymore.
As a vice president, hold on. Let's put this. What is a vice president? Any vice president? What has a vice president ever done in the terms that they serve? Nothing. So guess what that means? You got nothing to hammer on. You got 4 years. Everything was on Biden for what? You see what I'm saying? So there's something to that. There's something to that. You can't pin this necessarily on Biden per se, or on Harris per se. You can pin it on Biden, but as a VP, man, you're not. Come on, do people vote for president because of who the vice president is? No, they don't.
No, man, nobody
They don't.
cares.
So that's what's going to help her. Now, for someone like if it was Gavin Newsom, they got all this shit to point to here in California of what he's done. So it makes it that much more difficult. When you haven't done nothing, it's out of sight, out of mind.
Right.
That's where it's going to be, and people
Right.
will rather vote for someone who really hasn't done nothing than someone who's pissing them off. And that's one thing. And Trump is not doing that. Is he is not shutting up. He's
he
not,
did for a
he's
while
his
there.
Own,
He did
he's
for a
his
while.
Own worst enemy right now.
Yeah.
You cannot go out there and act a fool. You can't, man.
I guarantee you, if they have a debate, he'll bring up the fact, and it's not a lie, but in this day and age, with these weird, the way things are, and the weirdest we have in this world is back asswards. He'll bring up the fact that she's only where she is in life because of Willie Brown. Then all of a sudden, all the females will come in.
I don't think that he'll say that.
How
I don't
dare
think
you?
For that simple fact,
my
I don't think he'll
God.
say that.
Because
it's gonna turn off a lot of voters by doing that. I'm telling you.
He can't.
You
help
got to be
himself.
careful. And when you get into politics, if you cross a certain line, voters are not going to be pleased.
100%. Yeah.
Because you got to remember, a lot of people voted for Joe Biden, and he didn't do a damn thing, right? Right? Am I right? Joe Biden didn't do a damn thing.
Hey, he gave you a stimulus check, though. You might want to vote for him again, right? Jesus.
So it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be weird.
We'll see what happens.
Immigration and inflation. That's going to be a huge topic. I think those are the two biggest topics right now. Specifically,
And they
the
should
economy. Economy is always first and foremost. First and foremost is the economy. The second
Right.
thing is going to be the immigration. That's how I feel. A third is going to be on what's going on in the world. That's what it seems like to me. It's going to be interesting. Anyways, more to come on who the vice president is going to be for Kamala Harris.
Mhm.
And from what I heard she generated a shit ton of money.
I guess in one day she pretty much outdid Trump, something like that.
90,
Some weird.
I heard
number.
something like $90 million she was generated within the first couple of days.
Wow.
That's kind of scary, to be honest with you. It's kind of scary.
Well, I would like to see the transparency on that and see where the money is really coming from. Who's
On
funding
either
it?
side. Come on both sides. Whether it's
true.
Democrat, that money is coming from places that, you ain't gonna never know, man. You ain't gonna never know. And it's both parties. Oh, it's gonna be interesting, man. It really is. I guess it's their first debate in August. Think
That
so?
far away, huh? Okay.
I thought so, right?
Yeah.
Or
I
is
would
it
have thought it'd been a
September?
little bit sooner than that.
Maybe it's September.
Maybe
It's going to be after the Democratic
Well,
National
it's almost
Convention. I
August
think, right?
already. We're already into next month.
Yeah, we're damn near. God, can you believe it? We're already in August.
Man,
Almost.
Damn, it's almost my birthday. What the hell's going on?
There you go.
Oh man, I don't even want to talk about that. Hey, thanks, Benji. Good to see you.
Thanks,
again,
Benji.
Man. Hope
Thanks, man.
everything's going well for you, homie. Yeah, we were wondering where the hell you were.
Yeah, it's good to see you back, man. Hopefully you are not
yeah.
a stranger, Benji. Hopefully you're
man.
not. Hey, Benji, make sure you follow me. Master History 23. Make sure you
Yeah,
follow.
you're gonna like it.
Make sure you follow.
Mm-hmm.
What else we got out there, man? What else we got out there? Trying to think.
Not too much, other than a couple air shows wrapped up. Big old EAA
Capital
Oshkosh wrapped up. They had a
Oshkosh.
couple of accidents, I believe.
Yep. I think there was a big air show over in Europe too.
Oh yeah, the Riot.
Yeah.
RIAT.
Yep. That's always a big air show. Capital City in Sacramento had one. As a matter of fact, it was actually a couple of weekends ago. It was the same weekend that the big boy is here. But I ain't going to go to no damn air show when it's 100 degrees. Get the hell out of here, man.
Standing there forever watching that, and you got to pay $20 for an ice cream cone. And
what is that? I remember when I was a kid, when I went to air shows, we always went to because there were so many Air Force bases that were open at that time. we always went to Mather. McClellan had one time.
Mm-hmm.
Travis always had one. Moffett Field in Sunnyvale always had one. You had Fleet Week. Remember Fleet Week in the Bay?
Oh yeah, and I've heard it, man. I heard this. Man, you sitting there in the city, you'd be sitting there working, all of a sudden you're it's like, oh damn, what the hell? Loud as hell, man.
Yep. You had the Reno air races. I went there religiously for years. Then you had little air shows. You had Livermore used to have an air show. Madera down in Fresno used to have an air show. Who's the other ones I went? I've been down to Edwards. I've been down to Miramar. I've been down to March Air Force Base. What else down south? Haven't done anything. I saw a couple of shuttle landings down in at Edwards.
Well, that's
cool.
Awesome.
Lemoore, yes, Val. Went to Lemoore a couple of times to watch an air show. Castle Air Force Base used to have an air show.
Mm-hmm.
God, I mean, it was just awesome. There were so many places. I mean, the spring and summer were absolutely fantastic in California back in the day.
Not so Lemoore, I used to go to the PX with my grandmother all the time. Used to take her down there.
Benji says, I'll tell the intro and these streams are so good. And again, thanks, Benji. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Naval Station North Island usually has some kind of demonstration. That's out in Coronado.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
And if not, just sit there and watch. You'll see aircraft take off all day long.
Yeah. Yep. Eric, use the Y2J countdown for your show.
Oh, yeah, Jimmy. Eric and I talked about that. Probably not the best to get into it on a YouTube platform, but yeah, we're smelling what you're stepping in.
All right.
Smelling what you're stepping in. It's
Supposedly they came out with that already, Rounder. I think they said it's a bunch of investors had bought that land, right?
And I think they're going
to build a new community or something, right?
Yeah, they're trying to build a new community, and everybody's kind of protesting it and see if it goes through or not. They're trying to. Yeah, they bought a bunch of land around there, and I think they bought some land out there by Camp Parks too, out in Livermore. Not Livermore, but Livermore.
Oh, really? Interesting. Got to see Blue Angels. Yep, saw the Blue Angels at Livermore as well.
Yep, they have.
Absolutely, yep.
I believe that's where they're at, right?
No.
Sure.
Blue Angels, they actually are headquartered out of Pensacola, but they do their winter training down in El Toro, down there somewhere. There's there's a Marine. You know what it's named? What's his name? Varashu. Remember the movie I did on this here? What's his first name?
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's senior softball games.
That's cool.
Step grandfather.
That's pretty badass.
Yep. What the heck was his first name? Alex Varashu. Yeah, it's called Alex Varashu Airfield or Field. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. That's some
pretty damn cool
right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Honoring the aces from World War II.
Will B was drunk a little more. I plead the fifth on that one. I have taken an ID photo there, and I was like, I was a little, under the weather.
Under the weather.
I was a little under the weather.
There you go. Yeah, I used to be stationed at Travis Air Force Base, man. Big old C5, man. That was some Tampa plane. It's not the same though without the TF-33s, man. They just sound like a big giant airliner now. The Screaming Demon, those TF-33s were just, they called it the Screaming Demon for a reason. And it was a behemoth of an aircraft, or is a behemoth of an aircraft.
I watched the, I think I sent you the link a long time ago. But I put up my headphones and I put these ones on. I listened to it on YouTube. I did a full blast, and it was a full power C5 takeoff. Oh my god,
it's loud, dude.
It's nice though.
Oh, it sounds so awesome, dude. And it's just screaming, dude. Screaming.
It's funny was ripping it, dude. It went from a standstill to it being like an RV, and then all of a sudden, boom, there it goes, and it's just taking, man. And then as soon as it lifts off, it's like, how is that thing flying? It makes no sense at all.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. It's funny. Now when it takes off empty, like they're doing training, that thing takes off in no time. It's
well, I'm sure, yeah.
It rotates quickly. When it's fully loaded down and you see that thing just taking almost every damn inch of the 10,000 foot runway, And then when it's going up, it just looks like it's just lumbering in the air. It's just like, wow. Wow. How in the hell is that thing even flying? It's awesome. Real quick, before I get into anything else, those of you who live up in Northern California, hopefully you're not impacted by that park fire. It sounds like no lives have been lost, which is America, because it's kind of out in the wilderness. So that's a good thing. But man, because of one stupid ass piece of shit decided to light his car on fire.
Kidding me?
Look at this. Look at the stuff that he's doing. I mean, it's just absolutely just ridiculous.
It's already one of the largest fires of California history.
7th largest up to this point, I think. Incredible,
God bless
man.
Kyle and his family. I'm glad they're
He just missed. I mean, that happened literally just
Guys,
north.
You should have seen the pictures he was sending Eric and I. It was scary. I'm like, dude, get out of there. Like, that is nuts. He was showing us real crazy stuff, man. I'm glad he's doing fine.
Yeah, he's doing good. So that's good to see. It's just absolutely ridiculous that.
I swear, if I saw someone doing something like that, they might become a missing person.
Yeah, no kidding.
For the benefit of everybody else.
Unbelievable.
My God.
But yeah, I just want to just make sure we remember. I mean, I know it's not, but you never know. There could be houses out in the middle of nowhere. We don't know.
But here's the thing. So I'm in insurance, and you know this. Hold on a second. I got a cough because the damn AC just kicked on again. I got to change that damn thing out.
All right.
Oh man, what the hell? I just didn't time that one right.
It's all good.
A lot of those homes were de-risked. In other words, a lot of those homes that you see out there that are lit on fire don't have any insurance.
Nope. Because of freaking
those people
fire.
are ass out. They're out of
freaking
pocket.
Fair fire. Anyone knows about fair fire knows that's a bunch of.
Yeah, I apologize. I don't mean coughing on my guys. I try to avoid it when I can.
We're good. That shit pisses me off. As a matter of fact, we had planned on moving years ago. We were looking at a moving over by just north of Fresno. Matter of fact, up in Coarsegold. We were looking at homes up there. Come to find out, they take, hey, you know about fair fire? I was like, what the hell's fair fire? Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. If you can't get insured, you got to get what they call fair fire, which is basically a government sponsored insurance. Yeah, it's only going to cost you about $400 to $500 a month, and there's no guarantee that it doesn't go up every year. I'm like,
oh, and it does.
Are you
especially now?
Are you kidding me? That's what you have to do, because what happens is the private insurance companies won't insure the homes because of all the crazy fires that are happening in California. Too much of a risk.
Yeah, it's all based off an algorithm.
Yeah, of course it is. So that put the kibosh, but it's all good. It worked out for the better. If you think about it, it worked all out.
It's pretty bad when you have homes in even San Francisco or Morgan Hill or Sacramento that are being de-risked.
It's happening
everywhere.
It's happening in talking about in cities that are nowhere near a fire zone. Yeah. It's like, what's going on here? It's really weird what's going on in California when it comes to insurance. I mean, you know all about it, man. You're in the insurance business. You know all about it.
I mean, a 4-unit HOA in San Francisco on Market Street, and how much I sold them, and I didn't put it, I put only, by the grace of God, man, like I don't stiff people on when it comes to broker fees. I'll get my little pound of flesh, but I'm not going to do someone over, especially when I know they're in dire straits. Dude, their premium's like $7,000 a year just for 4 freaking units on Market Street. Is their house at risk of being on fire anytime soon?
Is it because of burglary?
No.
Or fire?
No, none of that. No. It's like, what in the hell?
You're getting close to almost $1,000 a month just for insurance.
Isn't that stupid?
Well, there it is. Rounder. I live in Santa Rosa and I'm in a high fire.
Start shopping. Check out.
I'm just waiting for the State Farm. They will. You got to be careful, Rounder, man. You got to. I'm pretty sure you're taking the measures, but man, start having a contingency plan. That's just
check
stupid,
out,
man. Stupid.
Just a
talk
PSA.
to Will.
I don't get any money for this. I'm not affiliated with these guys. I just know of them because I use them here and there for my HOAs. But yeah, check out Honeycomb Insurance. You don't even need to talk to a broker, and you can get a quote just like that, a snap of the finger. They're pretty quick to get back to you too, and they're usually better rates than most of the other players out there. So give those guys a shot, and then if you can't find anybody there, maybe find a personal lines broker that can help you out. You guys probably know all this, but Just trying to be helpful. That's what I do for a living.
There
Anyways.
you go, guys. So yeah, we talked about fire. What else you guys want to get into before we close this thing? Roner Park in Santa Rosa Ghetto. Roner Park in Santa Rosa Ghetto.
Never been.
Let's see. Jim, what's Jim talking about here? Oh, the casino. I've been there a couple of times and lost money.
Oh, I think I know what that casino they're talking about. Or no, never mind.
See, look at that. That's why we wanted to go up there, Val. We wanted to be up there in Coarse Gold or just north of that. What the hell's that city just north?
Oakhurst?
Oakhurst. That's it. Yep. We are looking in Coarse Gold, Oakhurst, Awahani. We are looking up in there. Beautiful. I mean, it was compared to what is down here and what you could get up there. I was like, man, it would be stupid for us not to go up there. But again, because of freaking fair fire.
Tank. Man, when you got to pay another car payment on top of a car payment.
Yeah. What? Come on, man.
Oh, by the way, on top of the increasing car insurance.
Get out of here, man. It's ridiculous.
And then you want to go get a hamburger and it costs $12.
Oh, man.
What the hell's going on, bro? It's all stacking up. And it's all part of inflation, too. And none of the dumbass stuff, like, so, for example, remember a couple months ago, guys, where that guy ran into that bridge in Baltimore? That was deemed a $3 billion loss. Guess what that loss? Guess who's paying for that? Every one of us. Yeah, that's how the world of risk works. So.
Well, how about the? Why should I say thank God? Because I got freaking smud. Because that's not thanking God. Those of you who are PG&E customers, you guys' rates went up. Why? Because PG&E screwed up. So you got to pay for it, man. How about them freaking apples? How about them apples?
I just got a refund check from PG&E the other day. And I'm like, wow, that's a first. Like, I got $28 back because they overcharged me before I left California. Right on. Thank you.
Plus a $4 charge on NorCal.
Oh my God. Round, don't take it personally. Jim is Jim.
Yeah. Jim's having fun.
He'll try to get a rise out of you here and there. So he don't mean nothing by it.
He comes in peace.
Yeah, he does. He really does. He's a good dude.
I got solar. Wait.
Solar.
You got Solaire or you have solar?
Let's not talk about fantasy.
Yeah. I know he's not talking about. I don't think he's
not talking.
Yeah, that helps with the energy, but it doesn't help with fair fire insurance. Yeah, you look at that. See, Rooster knows what I'm talking about. It never used to be that way. And then all of a sudden, all these fires, man, and everything went to hell. Man.
You and I were talking about it not too long ago, probably only about 3 or 4 days ago. Like, these pricks make enough money where they could subsidize all of it.
Oh, yeah.
And they really can. There's no oversight. Remember back in the early 2000s, the Enron scandal? Remember back in the early 2000s when we were having power grid problems every freaking summer? The reason why was because of freaking Enron. They were bought and paid for. They're doing it on purpose.
Gray Out Davis. Remember him? That's one of the reasons why he got booted. Remember that?
Yep. I remember that. That's why we got old Schwarzenegger in office.
He was one of the reasons. That and the last straw was raising the registration rates by like 300%. That was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah.
That was in for him. But yeah, it's ridiculous, man. I mean, think about it. The Power Commission. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called the PSL, right? It's all appointed by the governor. You don't have to have any experience in anything to do with the electrical
grid elected,
or energy
you're just
production.
Appointed because
you just got to be a freaking crony. That's all you got to be.
100%. And see, here's the thing. Here's the thing, Rooster. See, like, you've already minimized your usage, so that's quality of life you're missing out on. 100%.
Rooster. You're speaking to me, man. Smud is not much better. Dude, we minimize everything we can. We sit here and freaking sweat our asses off not to run our damn AC in the hottest part of the day, and we're still paying over $200 a month. And we're minimizing, dude.
See, I'm not, by the way, I'm not gloating or anything like that, but I'm happy I moved here out of all places because, I live out in the middle of the desert. Is it hot? Yeah, it's hot. It is. It's not, you get used to it, but Right now my place is at 74 degrees. My bill last month was $86, and I keep it at
Look at
74
that.
degrees.
Look at that, man.
My gas bill was only $20. So
Yeah.
there you go, $106 a month.
I don't
I'm
know when.
paying.
I don't think I've ever paid that little being in California ever.
Dude, my energy bill back in Citrus Heights, the little goofy Citrus Heights I was living in at the time, this time last year was like $235. You know, I was living in a little dumpy 1,000 square foot apartment, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what the hell?
PG&E is a modern day mafia.
It really
Legalized
is,
crime.
though. It's what it seems like, at least. It's bought
And then I
paid
see
for.
those commercials come across talking about PG&E.
We're doing better for you, and
Yeah,
bury
get
our-
out of here.
They say they bury their power lines, and then they come
Yeah,
to
they're
find out they
burying
haven't
them
been
now.
doing that at all. They stop because it costs too much money. Oh,
No,
really?
really? Get out.
Costs
of here.
too much money.
Freaking
Okay.
fools.
You don't have enough of that already?
Exactly.
Give me a break, guys. I don't know.
Look at Rob C. He keeps it at 72. If I
Freezing
kept
me
my
out.
damn thermostat at 72, I'd be spending about $500 a freaking month on
Yeah,
electricity.
probably would.
Oh, no. Hell no, man. With how hot it's been here, these last couple of days have been absolutely beautiful.
Oh,
It's going to
nice.
warm up a little bit starting tomorrow, but and then we hit 100s again. But God, these last couple of days have been fantastic. Man,
Hopefully that slows down that frickin' fire, man, because that thing was just
it's kind of
going
taking
out of control.
it's kind of taken on a life of its own. It's got its own climate now, man. It's got those polycumulus clouds. The good thing is it's not blow. Remember when Paradise blew up the campfire?
Yeah.
Remember how much smoke was down here in the valley? That was that was so bad, man. It was like fog. It was so bad. God, I hated that. God, it was so and the good thing is, at least it was in November where you didn't have to open the window. You could keep your windows closed and your house wouldn't burn up. If it was doing it now, there's no way you could open up the windows.
I remember
If it was the same conditions.
I remember the Santa Rosa fire when I was living in San Francisco. I was having to wear a mask, but I had a legit reason to wear a mask then because it was bad, bro. Just walking to the damn Trader Joe's to get some freaking sushi or some tacos. They had a little taco joint there on Bryan Street, right there in the parking lot area. I used to go over there, get some tacos and a Fanta, you know. Like, man, I'm wearing a damn painter's mask, and then fast forward a few years later, you know.
What do I
Anyway.
got here? What do I got here? Hold on, let me see something real quick.
Hey, Tony. Right on, man. Appreciate the support.
Do I want to do that? Or this one?
Solar, I know a few solar contractors. Just depends on where your area is. I could probably recommend you. I am very in touch with that community.
All right,
I'm
we'll bring
actually a
that in.
member of the California Solar Energy Industry Association.
Here, hold on. Actually, let me do this real quick. You know what? I could do it a better way here. Hold on 1 second. 1 second here. Might as well. Why not? Why the hell not?
Oh,
Okay, wait for it. All right, here we go.
oh
I had to
my
get
God.
evacuated from my house. The fire ended 1 block away. Which one was that one again? Hey, what's up, Tony?
The center. Oh man, you got lucky, homie. Damn.
Oh, the Santa Rosa fire. Yeah, those are bad. I remember
That was
those.
awful.
Wasn't that in 2015, something like that?
2017 or 20. Yeah.
No, I think that
2017,
was
I think.
2015. 2017 was the campfire, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Campfire was 2018.
2018. My bad.
It's right after
2018.
that.
So maybe because it was like a year before. Maybe it was 2017. Rounder, you would know. You would know. All right. 2017. Yeah, it was the year before. That's what it was.
I knew
Got it.
something was happening because there's a fire station right there on Howard. Not Howard. Yeah, it was on Howard.
That's the
Or
time they
excuse
had
me,
to
not Howard, but
cancel.
Harrison. And
They had to
went
cancel some
off
Giants
on-
games, right? They had to cancel
Yeah, I
because
think
it was
because all the
was so
smoke.
bad. Yeah.
Yeah, they responded to it.
Yep.
From San Francisco.
Yeah, a whole bunch. Wasn't there a guy who lost like he had like a huge, I don't, if it was it Giants and Niners collection, and it all went up in smoke. I mean, it was like a huge collection or something.
Yeah,
It's a
there
shame.
was a lot
Look,
of that.
I'm not putting that above. I think people actually lost. Didn't people lose their lives in that one?
I think people died. Yeah.
I'm trying to. Wasn't there an old couple that jumped into pool to survive, and didn't the wife die? I can't remember. It was horrendous, man.
That sounds
It's sad, man.
Sounds like
And
a
the-
bad M.
I
Night
know.
Shyamalan movie.
It does. The campfire. Oh, that was tragic as well because of just how quick. 2020, right? I don't know what is he.
Did you ever
talking
watch that video of the campfire where that guy was like, and his voice was all messed up because he was breathing in the hot air?
No.
And he goes, "This is my neighbors. They barely made it out, and then, or they didn't make it out because she wanted to grab an extra bag, and you could see their skeletons in the car passenger seats and whatnot." And he was
bruh.
the only reason why he escaped was him and his nephew ran out into the water there and just like sunk down. That's nasty. Yeah,
Terrible. Freaking terrible, man. God.
that's the worst way to go, man. Jesus.
Oh my gosh. How about this?
Yeah, let's liven it up.
What was that all
Yeah.
about? Where the
Oh,
heck
man.
come from, man?
Pray
What the
tell.
hell? What was that?
What was that? We
My
got hacked for a
God.
moment.
My
Somebody hacked
God.
us. Start off. Stop
Who's
hacking
doing
us.
that? Who?
Start off hacking us, man.
Stay tuned very soon. Might want to keep your eye on Twitter tomorrow, maybe. Maybe keep your eye on Twitter tomorrow. There might be an announcement tomorrow, maybe. We'll see.
Just possibly.
Possible. Maybe. Lethal. But yeah, again, guys, just stay tuned. What else we got out there? I think we pretty much covered everything. I don't think there's anything that we're missing now. Man, we pretty much
I
hit
don't think so.
every day. That was a good conversation we had on Vicksburg. I love talking about Vicksburg, man. I could go on and on.
Hey,
and
man,
on.
when it comes to Civil War, I just do one of these, man. Like, you got it. It's all you, man. 'Cause that you in the Civil War, man. That's like peas in the pod, man. I don't want to interrupt any of that.
Look at Benji.
Yeah, Benji. Yeah, there you go, man.
Yeah, yes, Rob. We'll be addressing that.
Lethal. That's funny, man.
If there's one, guys, I got to recommend a movie. Never even knew about it till the other day. There's a movie out there called One Life. Fantastic movie. Holy crap. It's a good movie. I don't want to give it away or anything, but go check it out. It's about a British man who tried to rescue a bunch of Jewish children during World War II. Unbelievable movie. Again, let me write that out.
Anthony
Great
Hopkins is in it.
Movie. Anthony Hopkins, is the main character. It is fantastic. Great movie. Here, let me type that in there and then put it up. There you go. One Life. Again, it has Anthony Hopkins. Oh, yeah. It's fantastic, guys. Great movie. I recommend it to anyone. All right, guys. I'm trying to think. I think that pretty much covers everything. Me and Charlie. Jim.
Man. That'd be a tag team
I
of
see you, Val.
mayhem.
Yeah, I know. Oh,
You
my God.
guys would be like Dink and Doink.
Oh, my God. Chardal, man. Come on.
It's funny.
Come on. He brings some comedy to the table, but man, as a mod, kind of pushing it there, I think. Pushing it a little bit there. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining. Appreciate you guys hanging out here on Military History Chronicles. Talked about the Vicksburg Campaign in the summer of 1863 during the American Civil War. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Touched on a little bit of other things. And yeah, again, guys, stay tuned to Twitter to hear some more announcements. Maybe you guys will like it. Maybe you won't. I ain't saying, Tony. Come on, man. Those are state secrets. Just keep following me on Twitter, and you'll get all the information that you need. It's going to be fun.
Go.
I'm honestly, guys, I'm really looking forward to it. If there's one thing that I absolutely missed, is interacting with everybody in the chat. I think you guys know me well enough. I enjoy seeing what you guys have to say. I love the back and forth. Sometimes we get a little bit off the rails. That's fine. That's just part of being a passionate fan, right? When you're passionate about something, you get loud sometimes. That's just the way it is. I don't take it personal in any way, shape, or form. Unless you're personal, then, it's a different story.
Yeah.
But I absolutely miss interacting, and I can't wait to start getting back into it. The show isn't the show without the chat, period. I could come up here and I can pontificate for hours on end, but if I'm not interacting with you guys and hearing what you guys have to say, going back and forth, then it's not a show for me. That's how I feel. Again, I treat everyone with as much respect as you guys show me. You know how it is, guys. It gets a little bit crazy, but yeah, it's just the way it is. I can't emphasize it enough. I absolutely just love interacting with everyone, and I can't wait to get back at it. It should be a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys feel the same. We'll see. We'll see how it works out, guys.
My challenge for you guys is give them all the feedback that you can.
Yeah, absolutely, guys.
Positive and negative.
Yeah. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. That's what's important. 100%. Because if you guys don't like what you're seeing, then we're doing something wrong.
I'll be there in the chat, guys. I'll be there with you boys.
All right, guys. Again, thanks for the support. We'll see you guys soon. Until the next one, see ya.
Later. Peace.